right, we're starting in on another one. Hopefully Rosie's not too loud here in the background. I'm just letting Rosie warm up. Figured I'd stand up on top of her to get you guys a good aerial view, but we're down at my neighbor Juan's place, and he's been wanting some work done for a long time. He's just been having to save up, and luckily it's finally dry enough to get in here. His place is like mine, it floods. His is actually worse than mine because the road right here acts as a levee, so when we get a flooding rain, it backs up behind the road and all these woods fill up. He actually floods, the water gets all the way up till it runs over the road. And then it comes onto my place. So anyway, we got to take advantage while the weather's dry. We're going to get in here started. Right now, he cut all this out years ago when he first bought the place. So I know there's little stumps and stuff in there, but hopefully nothing that's going to get me hung up or get me in trouble. You can see some logs piled up like in there, and he's got logs piled all over here. Of course, it's all just rotten debris at this point. And the property line fence is right there. You can see the barbed wire running through the trees. But anyway, we're going to be going back here. You may be able to see one red flag right there in the trees. Over here. One red flag right in there. And basically, I'm just going to go deeper with this width from the cabin to this tree line here. We're just going to go deeper. I measured in 100 by 100 feet, which is about a quarter acre. I was thinking 100 by 200 is what he needed. Then I felt like 100 by 100 seemed too big. But now I'm kind of leaning back towards 100 by 200, and it's kind of an interesting job because he doesn't really know what he needs or what he wants, or he doesn't really care. So he just told me to do what I think is right, which is difficult for me to do, to just kind of come in and take over. But I'm excited about it because, yeah, it lets me kind of have a blank slate that I can do his place as I see fit, because just my opinion, this is not fit. I'm not saying that I'm any better, but I mean, we can do a lot better. The plan right now, if it all works out, what I'm thinking, we're going to waste topsoil all out in here to build all this up higher than the road. The pond will be right in here behind it, and then we'll stack clay back behind the pond, and he'll put his house back there. He was thinking about putting his house right here, but it's so close to the road, I thought, man, if we have the option, let's just put it a little further off the road. It's just all around better. So he's got 22 acres here total, like me. His is more of a square, so we got a lot of options to work with. Just gotta decide what we want to do. Anyway, first step's gonna be getting in here, kind of cleaning this up, just so I've got a place so I can see, and then we're gonna start laying down trees in the back there. All right, well, that's about an hour and a half at most, more like an hour really. Just going through here, clearing out underbrush and popping stumps, and you can see, well, you guys obviously can't tell, but everywhere there was a stump, there's now a gooey spot. And you know, we have not had any appreciable rain here in months. But this is a problem that I've had people ask me before, you know, that want to get some land clearing done. They say, well, hey, what if I go through and I cut all the trees down first and then you come through and dig out the stumps? It's absolutely not. Don't do that at all. Because at least with this pine, where the trees are actually growing, they're sucking that moisture up out of the ground. And so the soil will actually be drier back in where I start clearing. It's wetter out here because there's all these stumps that are rotting in the ground, and they're holding that water like a big sponge. So I'm having to be real careful moving around. I haven't really started sinking at all, but it's starting to get like, you know, Play-Doh. So I've got there's dry spots between each stump. There's a dry spot that's solid, so I have to be careful to try to stay on the solid and work to be able to dig the stumps out of the, you know, wherever they're at. But there's also all this rubble. So, you know, over the years, he's been getting loads of brick and rock and trash and just throwing it out here thinking it'll fill in a dry spot. And yeah, that doesn't make things any better either. But I'm trying to work around that and preserve it, just because I imagine he paid some money to have that crushed concrete brought in. So maybe he'll want to try to gather it back up and move it. I don't know. He'll probably just cover it over with dirt. Anyway, I'm going to try to work right here along the edge of the trees, pull some of this debris out, throw it on top of those stumps and start a burn pile. And then I'm going to go around back, start building the burn pile. I don't think I'm going to light it yet, but and then I'm gonna go around back and actually start laying down trees. That's the whole reason I'm here, to clear, not to clean up junk, but I had to clean up first in order to have space to even work. All right, well, just a quick little update on where we're at. We have been laying down trees for an hour and 15 minutes. That's it, an hour and 15 minutes. And we've cleared out, not a quarter of it, but pretty close, pretty quick. See, trees we dug out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we've dug out 20 appreciable trees in a little over an hour, and that's not counting all the little sweet gums and stuff like that. That's just the big pines that we had to actually push out. The reason I'm counting is because I just did a different job, and the lady was really concerned about, you know, the timeline, how long is it going to take you, and her timber's about the same size. And I said, well, realistically, I said, once I get on a row, I can start taking down trees about 2 to 3 minutes each. Well, if we're at an hour and 20 trees, right there, you're at 3 minutes apiece. So, and like I said, it's actually less than that I spend per tree to dig it out, because I'm not counting all the little trash stuff. I'm just counting the big trees here. So anyway, we're laying them all out. I'm trying to lay them out without tangling them. You can see I got these 2 crisscross, but trying to keep them relatively clean. There's really not a lot in here that's worth salvaging, but I do, basically, if we can get a 6x6 out of it, I want to try to save it, because I want Juan to be able to bring it up and cut it up on my sawmill if he wants to. You know, we're doing this job as a very personal favor, you know, getting paid obviously, but trying to absolutely maximize the value that he can get out of his land. You know, basically discounting his labor, because that's just the type of guy he is. He's a very hard work kind of guy. So to him, you know, it's worth it to do the labor to get the, you know, to get the materials cheap. So you know, somebody else might say it's not even worth the money to saw out a 6x6. You know, just throw it away, burn the tree and go buy the 6x6. Maybe not right now with timber prices or lumber prices being crazy, but anyway, that's the goal. So I'm trying to lay it out, giving him the option. If he walks in here and says, nah, this looks too small and stupid, I don't want to deal with it, then we'll throw it on the burn pile, but I'm gonna let him at least look at it. Anyway, we're working into it pretty good. I think I've taken out 4 rows, or started them 4 rows in, something like that. These couple right here are actually all decent sized trees, and he's got this stuff all stacked up beside him that I don't want to mangle his good panels here. So I'm skipping these for right now, just moving over to this row. Maybe he keeps these trees. I'm gonna leave them and just kind of see how it looks as it shapes up. If we need to knock them down, we'll knock them down, but I've got more than enough room over here now that I can start baling back dirt to cut his pond. You guys aren't gonna be able to visualize it, but my thought is his little driveway is coming in right over here, bringing his driveway right on down through here and straight down the north side of the pond, setting the pond against that tree line over there, and then putting his house back behind it like I mentioned earlier, I think. So it might be nice to leave these trees to give a little bit of privacy, you know, if we can. Of course, the driveway's got to run right through them, but maybe we can have the driveway deviate around them. I don't know, we'll see. That's not important. What's important right now is getting the rest of it laid down and organized so that we can start to get a better picture. earlier, I swear I jinxed myself. I was just sitting there thinking, man, what if this thumb breaks? And I thought, you know, Kevin had welded it up for me, but what if it breaks where Kevin didn't weld it? Sure enough, see right there where that round pipe is supposed to go into that square tube, it just busted out. And I was just thinking, not even 30 minutes ago, I was like, yeah, I guess if there was a weld to break, it'd be that one. Anyway, I thought I had myself boxed in. You know, and I was like, dang it, how many need to machine out because I've got all these logs laid in here. But nope, we'll just get up on top and drive over them. So I'm just trying to I'm being real careful as I come out here, just to make sure that I'm not getting anything hung up, make sure they're not snapping and flipping up under the undercarriage. I've got them laid in here tight enough actually that I can run right across them. It's just like being up on a log road, being up on timber mat, basically. Anyway, ironically enough, Kevin that I dug the pond for, he's the one that welded up the thumb I broke on Ryan's job. But I'm pretty sure that little weld that just broke there, I'm not pointing fingers, but I believe it's my neighbor Kevin, that's a pipe fitter. He welded that one up because it broke and he borrowed the machine all those years ago. I remember him fussing about some weld break-in and he had to fix it. I think that's the one. So that came back to get me. It took 2 years, but it came back to get me. Anyway, we're gonna track it out. I only had about an hour left to work anyway before I had to get on the bus, so we're gonna track it out here by the road to where the other Kevin that did the better welds, I guess I should say, he can come and just pull his truck in here and weld it up. So I'm gonna get it folded up and situated where it needs to be and have it ready. That way he can just walk, he can just back the truck right in here and just won't take him 10 minutes to burn a weld around it. Hopefully he does that tomorrow morning and we'll be right back in business. Well, I just had a minute this morning. Figured I'd give you guys a little update down here at Juan's. Oh, there's a stump right there I missed. I don't know how much time I put in. I don't remember, but it hasn't been much. Oh, there's another one. Dadgum. I thought I popped all those old rotten stumps. There's 2 right there. I've been driving over every day. Anyway, the burn pile is getting bigger and bigger. We haven't managed to be able to light it. Juan worked on it for about an hour and a half the other day, throwing everything he had at it, and just couldn't get it to go, which, you know, it's like, we know once it goes, it's going to go hot. And I've been kind of rebuilding it. You know, that's all stumps on the backside. All this on the front is small stuff. And I may end up, if we take a day where we decide we're going to try to light it again, I may take all that off the front, try to get a little fire going in there in the middle, and then kind of start restacking it, because that's really what needs to happen. You need to get a fire going and then feed it. You can't hardly get one going when the pile's already built like this, when it's green. And once it dries, sure, it'll go. Anyway, I've got the whole pond area done now, cleared out. So you can see our flag back here in the corner. That's the southeast corner of the pond, northeast corner of the pond there, northwest corner of the pond hiding right there, and southwest is, well, knocked down, but it's basically the end of the log pile there. Anyway, so this whole thing is pond available. Doesn't have to be the pond. And I started, but it's what we cleared, you know, 100 by 100 for the pond. And then going into here is where his house pad is going to be. I've tried to leave a few trees when I can. And the reason I mention, you know, when I can is because when you start clearing and you dig around the roots, these trees are so close that when you dig around the roots of one, you're pretty likely you're going to hit the roots of another. And so every now and then there'll be a space where one has died or something, and there's a bigger gap. And so when I get that opportunity, I do like to try to leave one where I can. So I left these 2 just because that'll give them, you know, that's basically going to be the pond bank between the house and the pond. So that'd be nice to have a little couple trees there. I left those 2, that pine and that sweet gum right there. I'm going to cut him a little island just for fun. I haven't told him I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it. And, you know, it's going to be barely big enough for a guy to stand on and fish, but hey, that's all you need, right? It's not going to be as big as my island where we're going to build a pavilion and stuff. But I started clearing it here yesterday, and you can see it's actually pretty thin already. This is all scrub. There was a row thinning. So there's 1, 2, 3, 3.5-ish rows of pine right there. There's really not that many because then it's all cleared back there behind it too. So there's just a little group of small pines here. That's all trash. There's maybe 1 or 2. The biggest one in there is crooked, of course. This one right here in front, go figure. So it won't take me but another hour to lay all that down at most. Now, these trees here, these 2 rows, technically I would clear them, but I think this space is going to be big enough. We'll measure it out once it's clear, but I'm thinking it's about 70 by 100. I mean, it can go as far as we want, but I think it's about 70 wide, which is going to be more than enough that if I can leave these couple rows of trees and give him just that much more privacy between the house and the road, is what I want to do. His driveway, I was thinking, you know, come in right here. I was going to leave those 4 trees. I may leave these outer 2, take the inner 2, to be able to have his driveway basically come straight through from where the tractor's at, straight through here, you know, and then turn into the clearing. But I also thought about bringing it, coming over here a little more. I don't imagine I can convince him to tear down the log shacks, but if I could, I'd run it right through the middle of the log shacks and, you know, take out a couple trees right in here. That'd be, again, my opinion. Anyway, the point of the update, just show you guys the clearance coming along. Another hour, 2 at most. I'll have all that out of there, graded back real clean. If I decide to take any more over here, you know, another hour maybe. But pretty much, we're getting really close to getting done clearing. I would finish it today, but we're actually going to leapfrog Rosie just down the road, like literally just down the road, like 100 yards. Do a couple hours of work for a guy there that's got a couple stumps he needs pulled so he can bring in an office trailer on a construction project. So I'm just waiting on those guys to show up and help me throw tires down, because we're going to drive it on tires down the road. And then I'll get all this mess cleaned up and be back to work at Juan's. The goal is get down there today, get that done in a couple hours, get right back here to Juan's.